As the war in West Asia explodes further, perhaps the first signs of a fissure in Iran's leadership. A dispute over President Pezeshkian's pledge not to strike Gulf states is exposing divisions, but Tehran insists that it stands united. Reports citing sources close to Iranian leadership say that there are visible signs of divisions between hardliners and more pragmatic factions. Pezeshkian's apology to Gulf states for attacks on their territory and his pledge to rein in such attacks has prompted pushback, especially from the Revolutionary Guards and clerical elite. In a direct attack, hardliner cleric and lawmaker Hamid Rasai addressed the president on social media saying, "Your stance was unprofessional, weak and unacceptable." The judiciary chief, Ghulam Hussein Mohseni Ejei, who is part of the temporary leadership council with Pezeshkian, also struck a different note. He said some regional states had allowed their territory to be used for attacks and heavy strikes on those targets will continue. Such reactions seem to have forced Pezeshkian into a partial climb down. The president later repeated his earlier statement on social media but left out the apology. However, it remains to be seen if the divide is over the strategic approach or just over Pezeshkian's recent statement. There is a feeling that Pezeshkian, who is not known as a great orator, fumbled the message. But all senior figures within the hierarchy are united in their commitment to defending Iran against U.S. and Israel. Ali Larijani, another important figure in the leadership, echoed the same sentiments.
Trump does not understand that Iranians may have differences among themselves, but they are still Iranian, and they stand with Iran. The idea of breaking Iran apart will not gain their cooperation. And besides that, they have seen your history of interventions in the region. Our leaders are united on this issue and have no disagreements with one another. We have no divisions among ourselves in fighting Israel and the United States.
Meanwhile, clerics are accelerating the appointment of a new supreme leader, with the decision possible on Sunday. In Iran's unusual system, an elected president, government and parliament are subservient to a clerically appointed supreme leader. As leader for 36 years, Khamenei held sway over the hardline and moderate factions while retaining the ultimate say. We were earlier joined by Ben Aris. He's the founder and editor-in-chief of BNE in Telenews and also former Moscow bureau chief for the Daily Telegraph. Listen in to what he had to say about the ongoing West Asia crisis.
I think it's a race against time. I mean, we've got two sides. On one side, you've got the U.S. Israeli alliance, and they are massively armed, and they're doing the classic shock and awe strategy where you go in with overwhelming force and you try and deal a death blow in the first few weeks. That's to decapitate the Islamic State, which has happened very successfully, and at the same time to strike and take out as much of the military might of Iran as you can. You blow up dumps, you blow up army bases. Specifically, the Israeli-US team are going after the launchers. Iran has some 2,000 missiles and some very deadly ones. But if you destroy the 200-odd launchers that Iran has, then it can't fire them and they become useless. And on the other side of the equation, because it's an asymmetrical war, Iran is hunkering down. It's fired a massive volley of missiles in the first days, designed to do the same thing and to take out as much of the Israeli attack and defense as it can. And then it retreats, it hunkers down, it hides, and it tries to outweight the American assault. And the reason is that the number of offensive missiles that the US has is limited. The number of defensive missiles that the US and its allies have is limited. And part of the reason of the initial volley is not necessarily to do damage, it's just to run down the stocks of defensive missiles. And then Iran has this drone capacity. It can make 150,000 drones, 400 a day. And what it's going to do now is just wear away and denigrate the ability to defend itself. So we're exactly at the point in the middle of this strategy. I mean, it's not clear who's winning. I mean, there are reports of the US already running low on missiles. There are reports of significant damage to the IRGC's ability to fire back. And this is what's going to play out in the next week. We're going to see which way this is going to go.
Iran Security Chief Ali Larijani has said that the US and Israel were seeking to break the Islamic Republic apart. In a pre-recorded interview broadcast on state TV, he asserted that the Iranian leaders were united in fighting both the US and Israel. Larijani said that US was seeking to replicate in Iran a scenario similar to Venezuela, where interim President Delcy Rodriguez cooperated with Washington, D.C. under the threat of violence after Nicolas Maduro's ouster. Larijani further went on to say that he believes the Americans do not understand the context of West Asia, especially Iran.
Trump does not understand that Iranians may have differences among themselves, but they are still Iranian, and they stand with Iran. The idea of breaking Iran apart will not gain their cooperation. And besides that, they have seen your history of interventions in the region.
Larijani insisted that there were no divisions among the leadership in Tehran over the war with the US and Israel. He spoke after President Masoud Pezeshkian apologized to neighboring countries for Iranian attacks.
Our leaders are united on this issue and have no disagreements with one another. We have no divisions among ourselves in fighting Israel and the United States.
Larijani's remarks come at a crucial point as Islamic Republic remains without a leader after the killing of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Larijani added that the three-member leadership council overseeing Iran had requested that arrangements be made to convene the assembly of experts, but did not reveal any deadline.
Our leadership council has announced that the necessary arrangements should be made by the security forces so that the assembly of experts can convene under appropriate conditions and make its selection for the next supreme leader.
Earlier, Larijani had put out a social media post claiming the capture of a number of American troops. He said that the US was lying and claiming that the soldiers were killed instead of taken prisoners. However, Washington has denied the claim. Larijani made this post after US President Donald Trump attended a ceremony for the transfer of the 6 American soldiers killed in Kuwait.